to tee up this really cool new, I guess I'll call it a feature technology, just a tool for Bitcoiners to use. Imagine a world where suddenly the government is coming after your Bitcoin in some way, shape, or form, whether it's in the form of an unrealized capital gain tax, which I think is completely immoral,
Yep.
And counterintuitive, but or just straight up confiscation. So like, how do you do that? Like, the first thought is, okay, well, I got to get my hardware or my seed phrase or whatever, and then I'm going to have to escape. I'm going to have to actually physically cross a border with like a seed phrase. That would be scary as all hell. So, but so is the idea potentially of digitally transferring it. Like, you put a seed in the cloud maybe, and like get it when you get there and pull it down, or like you don't want to email it to yourself, maybe an encrypted messenger, maybe, but like there's still like it's on the device. How do you get around the scariness of physical or digital transport of key material? Well, our good friends over at CoinKite have this. Do you want to touch on this? Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions.
Yes, this is absolutely beautiful. I even just want to remind people too, if I'm not mistaken, there's a couple people involved with the trucker protest. Like, don't think that they won't do crazy shit. That happened not that long ago. And I think I saw that some of the organizers were being sentenced like 2 years in prison. So it's at least worth considering. So what we got here from the Coldcard is the Coldcard Key Teleport. Key Teleport is a feature of Coldcard Q devices that securely transfers sensitive data such as seed phrases, secure notes, and PSBTs using QR codes or NFC. It employs robust encryption, including elliptic curve encryption, as well as AES 256 CTR, enhanced by user-provided password for added security. This ensures that moving critical information between devices is both straightforward, highly protected, regardless of where in the world you reside. It's a way that you can basically just transport your key anywhere in the world.
Yeah, it's really wild. So like the way that something like this would work for the layman here is, you're thinking of sending something digitally, but you want the ability for only the intended recipient, maybe yourself even, to be able to actually access that information. And so what this does is you have two cold cards in two different locations, and you could do this via QR code, whatever. But you're sending information. You're basically sending what's known as a public key, and you're using that information on the other side, the person with the actual material, the key material they want to send. They're encrypting it with your public key and a password for an extra layer of security, then sending over what anybody else intercepting it would just see as a useless blob of data. And not only can nobody really brute force this because it's got the same level of encryption as like a regular cold card,
Bitcoin, yeah.
like as Bitcoin seed phrases, but it gets over there, and it can only be decrypted by the cold card that is the intended recipient. So they port the information into the cold card. They have the password and the key material to decrypt it, and they receive the actual seed phrase you meant to send. Or again, password, secure note, entire cold card backup, so you can clone the entire thing literally over the airwaves with a friggin' QR code. It's crazy. It allows for cross-border transfer of key material, which could then be destroyed from the origination point, and it's now exclusively wherever you sent it to. You're escaping Canada to El Salvador. Bam, QR code, type in a PIN, you're set. You got it. It's wild. It's super useful. It reminds me of a more secure version of border wallets, if you're familiar with those, or it was
Yep.
like where you could like draw a pattern on a grid. The grid generates all of the seed words based on a seed word that you have. Like it was crazy. A shout out to MTC for inventing that. It's awesome. But just another tool in the tool belt where if shit gets draconian, you actually have a course of action. And I love to see that.
And not even on that point too. Even if you just wanted to, like, you've gotten to the point, you've got your generational wealth and you want to have keys distributed over the world, you don't have to go and do like a 6-month trip. If you've got people that you intend to have hold them, right? You could have a 2 of 3 multi-sig and you could just teleport your key to your buddy in the UK, your mom who's maybe hanging out in El Salvador, and I don't know, maybe some of the mentors hanging out in Australia, but you wouldn't have to physically go and take it with you. You could teleport a key of a quorum to trusted parties all over the world in an afternoon and destroy the source and get out if you had to.
That is an excellent point. Setting up a multi-sig remotely, that's an excellent use case. Or even just as simple as like, oh, you want to set up a family member with their cold card, but you can't be with them exactly. You can just walk them through the process here with the key teleport, and then they're set up, and you can also act as your kind of like third line of defense of like, hey, I've got a seed just in case, but they don't need to physically give it to you. Anyways, super awesome. And we're gonna jump from this one. There's a few other things I want everybody to be aware of, just like recent stuff that's dropped here. So of course, BTC Pay Server. Incredible tool, open source tool for anybody to become a Bitcoin merchant. Their version 2.1.0. They've got new multi-sig integrations, fee acceleration, and plenty more. These guys are always killing it. Stay on top of the most recent release, and yeah, check it out. I'm going to be playing with it myself. This wallet is falling. I'm going to say falling under the radar for a lot of people, but it's called Cove Wallet. It's currently in beta and it's only on iOS, but they're going to have an Android version soon. But a lot of really good people working on this mobile wallet, and it's got support for hot wallets, cold wallets, multi-sig. They just added tap signer support, which is super awesome. So if you're sleeping on Cove and you've got an iPhone, go check it out. It's definitely worth checking. And I'm looking forward to the Android version.
Love tap signer support.
Yeah, exactly. The even more support for tap signer is always great. The last thing that I wanted to talk about in the updates, Bitcoin Core version 29.0. The main thing I just wanted to touch on here, I'm going to scroll down. There's a lot of stuff that went on. Replace by fee is now standard. And those unfamiliar, replace by fee means you send a transaction. If you want to replace the transaction for some reason, maybe you're just trying to speed it up, or maybe you're trying to change the destination, you can replace the transaction however you like with a higher fee. And that is the one that's likely to be picked up. So again, this is a mechanism to speed up transactions. Or if you sent a transaction, you're like, ah, shit, I actually meant to do this. You've got a limited amount of time before a block gets mined to do an RBF transaction and say, actually, here's a higher fee, send it here instead. So this could be like refunding to yourself or changing the destination. So good and bad with this. I love RBF. I use it all the time because it just gives me that extra moment, or it gives me the chance to, if there's a fee spike, to bump it. The other side of it is when you're dealing with on-chain, it's just another point that you shouldn't consider Bitcoin yours until you have at least a confirmation, but multiple confirmations are better. It's a settlement layer, and you got to wait till shit settles before you actually have it. Different from Lightning. Lightning, you get Lightning, you got Lightning. So just keep that in mind. The biggest opposition I've seen to this is probably from John Carvalho. He wasn't a big fan of RBF by default, because a lot of the Lightning stuff he was working on were creating Lightning channels and bumping transactions to the recipient's side of the channel instantly, under the assumption that you couldn't get a reversal of the transaction. But when RBF is default, no matter what, you got to wait for that confirmation before you go and you bump money to somebody's side of the channel, because it could change everything if somebody RBFs it. So anyway, something to think about. Any general thoughts there on any of those things?
No, it's much the same. One, I just absolutely love seeing more tap signer support. If you haven't played around with one of those things yet, they're great. And that's another way you can kind of sneak Bitcoin across the border, which is fantastic. So I think Nunchuck and Keeper and now Cove as well too are the ones that I'm aware that support tap signer. So always good to see there. And then with regards to RBF, like that was a bit of like a blind spot for me in terms of being able to change the output of the transaction. Because I'd really only ever thought about it like, let's not be real. I don't want to waste any sats. I was too cheap on my transaction fee. Okay, let me go in and bump it up. And that had really been the only case where I had ever used it. And it kind of reminds me of the balance between like, especially helping people with Bitcoin, whether or not you're going to look at the risk of theft versus the risk of loss as well too.
Mm-hmm.
And I do see, and I can understand, particularly if we have, hopefully, new cohort coming in, new people getting and actually still transacting on chain while they still can, that the ability to bump up the fee into, if they were just like, they didn't get the fee structure, they didn't pay enough, it's just not going through. That makes sense to me. And I wonder if maybe down the line, when there's a lot more activity on that network too, this might be something that they might default back off at some point for Lightning purposes, or because, the vast majority of people interacting with on-chain Bitcoin have a better understanding of necessarily what they're doing from the get-go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, with that, we're going to round it out. Just a reminder to you guys, if you're playing with your Coldcard or anything else we've mentioned here, or you're just trying to level up in your Bitcoin journey and you feel that the tutorials on the channel are not quite cutting it and you need some hand-holding, you can reach out to us over at bitcoinmentor.io. It's myself, it's Nathan, and it's a whole team of excellent Bitcoin educators that can handhold you through anything you need in your Bitcoin learning journey. Bitcoin Well is the best place to be buying and selling Bitcoin in Canada and the US. And now with Bitcoin Well Infinite, it's also the best place to be making large buys at their OTC desk of over $50,000. Their white glove service gives you fast transactions, no slippage, and the lowest fees. You can scan the QR code on the screen or simply head to bitcoinwell.com/BTC sessions to sign up today. And you can share your own personalized referral link to earn commissions.